Hello everyone, my name is Teacher Boko, as you already know because you're already on my channel, right? But I like introducing myself in the beginning. Usually, I like making structured, scripted videos that would be, more systematic. But today, I have a slightly different video for you. This video is more free flow, spontaneous one. Haven't prepared a script for this one, which has its advantages, right? So I could talk about different things, and I don't only have to stick to one topic, jedna tema. So basically using English, but just filling it in with some Serbian words here and there. Let's try like that. As you already know, I didn't film the YouTube course, the free course, last Saturday. So I wanted to film this and post this video instead, answer some of your questions, or some of the things that you're usually asking me. I mean, I'll try to do that, but as I said, since this is a specific situation now and a different video, I could talk about different things. Not only Serbian, ne samo srpski. So first, you could notice the background difference because I have moved to a new apartment this weekend. So I'm filming from my new place now, from my new home. From my new home is moje nove kuće. Well, that would be technically how you say it, but it's actually stan, an apartment here. So novi stan. It's an empty room basically, and that's why also the audio is slightly different. I don't particularly like it. It's a bit echoey, I feel like. But okay, it is what it is. This room is going to remain empty for some time, so I would have to manage. Anyway, I have a chance now to mention to the people, to the new subscribers, basically, to the people that have discovered this channel recently, to repeat that there are multiple playlists on my channel, as you already know. But if you're trying to study Serbian and then you're trying to do it from scratch, instead of going through playlists one by one, the best way to study it, the most systematic way, and the way that starts from the very beginning and moves up, so you could catch and understand everything, would be to follow the playlist that is called All My Videos in the Right Order. So just find that playlist, start from the first video, watch all of the videos, get a notebook and a pen and write it all down, repeat it, listen to me say it for a couple of times, and you try to say it out loud as well. So these are some of the great methods. These are conventional studying methods, but they never fail, right? I mean, they're not particularly fun, interesting, exciting, groundbreaking, original, or inventive, but they get the job done. Studying a language is often monotonous, we have to be honest, right? It's tedious, and you just need to have a lot of motivation and persistence. Regarding the free course, the last weekend we didn't have any students. I also forgot to post a comment and to announce the lesson, but I do generally intend and I plan to have or to hold these lessons every Saturday at 5 p.m. Maybe, in the back of my mind, I have this voice telling me, hey, maybe you shouldn't be promising something like this because, your wife is about to to have a baby, probably at the end of this month, right? So I'm gonna be a dad. I'm gonna become a dad very soon. That's probably why I have my leg on a break, if you will. That is, I think, the main reason why I haven't explicitly stated the lessons will be held every Saturday at 5 p.m. No exceptions, or, indefinitely or whatever, right? I do plan to do that, but maybe that's one of the reasons why I haven't said it like that explicitly. Although I do plan to hold them every Saturday in general, and I plan to hold the lesson this Saturday as well. So if you're interested, there will be a link. I'll create a post on YouTube to remind you. I'll paste the Google Meet link, so you'll be able to join. That link also exists in the video descriptions of the previous videos, the course videos that we already have on the channel. So you can find it there. If you don't want to, you don't even have to turn on the video. So, I do understand the pressure and the anxiety that being on YouTube might give you. But don't be afraid. It's just learning a language, and you do it actively as an active participant now, and that act alone motiviše and inspiriše many other people to study more. It gives them additional strength, snaga, and it gives them the freedom, maybe, or gives them the courage to try to participate. Maybe not the following weekend or the one after next, but maybe in a month. Maybe there's this little idea that gets born inside someone's mind, and then they start thinking about, okay, I've been listening to all of this, but maybe I want to talk to him sometime in the future. So that's how we get this snowball rolling, and that's how we get it bigger and bigger, this Serbian snowball. Maybe we can talk about Serbian grammar a little, srpska gramatika. So basically the question I got is about Aorist. I think the question was, pitanje je bilo something like, is Aorist only used in, let's take a look. Is Aorist used in modern colloquial speech or only in old books? We also have somebody else answering, optional or to emphasize something in Montenegro. Oh, a Montenegrin. All right, cool. It is generally used much more than in Croatia. Aorist and pluskvamperfekat are not really in use. Don't worry, Hakuna Matata. All right, and then there was my comment. That's a great question. It will be cool to start with this. This is really not one of the regular ones, right? This is not a question you get asked often. You do get asked this question from time to time, but usually it's not very popular, and the students don't find it very interesting. But I do. I like talking, because that's probably the reason. Because I talk about the same things in accusative and dative, 5 times a day, sometimes more. So talking about Aorist is, refreshing. So Aorist, or, maybe something that is the closest to the present perfect in English. Aorist is the tense that we used for an action that happened after some other action in the past, right? So it happened in the past, but it happened more recently compared to some other action, or it happened recently, just happened in the near past. That's when Aorist is used. It is a fact that Aorist hasn't been massively used nowadays. So let's take a look at that comment once again. So in Montenegro is generally used much more than in Croatia. Okay, that's not really that relevant for us and for Serbian. Aorist and pluscuamperfect are not really in use. Yeah. Well, he's right. He's right. He's like, don't worry about it. We don't use it that much. So that message or that point is, is correct. And yeah, so I mean, I don't even remember teaching anybody Aorist in the last year, probably. So that is true, that you could basically speak, I don't know, B2 or C1 without even using Aorist ever. But we do have it in the books, right? So actually at an advanced or as an advanced Serbian speaker, you definitely have to know it. That is true. So is it used in modern colloquial speech or only in old books? So not only old books, actually, right? Because in books, in all the books, you have some dialogues, right? I mean, basically, usually in books you would have dialogues, right? So whenever you have a dialogue, like you have a quote, and then after that you have something like he said, or the detective said, or his mother whispered or something, right? Well, if we stick to the word said, that word is almost always in Aorist, in the books, at that part. For example, I don't know, he said, we just say reče in Aorist, he said reče. Or for example, Ana said would be Ana reče. So yeah, that's very common. So it's not only the old books, but it is just this one little specific thing, like usually books. So in that regard, actually, the person who wrote the question was right, that we don't use it in the books in general. We just use it for that little specific part. We don't generally use it in books now, maybe in only those old books. But in modern colloquial speech, I'm not really, sure, because I live here in the south. So I'm not really sure about Belgrade, for example, or the rest of Serbia. I mean, the west, the east, and Vojvodina. But it is used in the south, So I have to admit, it does sound a bit uglyish when people who use the language incorrectly, on top of that, use Aorist too. So it kind of sounds, bad, But on the other hand, if you speak properly and correctly, and then you throw in Aorist here and there, that might actually sound very polished, very elegant, unordinary, and just vintage somehow, and very beautiful, it might sound very sophisticated, and on point, especially if some, older, educated, and well-mannered people use, I use it more than others, I think. It's just something that I inherited from my mom, I guess, just listening to her say it. And I don't even know where she picked it up, because my grandma never used it. And yeah, so for just things that she did earlier in the day, or things that she did for the past day, right? So for those activities, she would, sometimes, not always, but pretty often use Aorist, and I found it, as I was describing, sometimes very on point and beautiful to hear. It's definitely not needed, You know, like you could always just use the past tense and that would always be perfect. But aorist can be a little twist. It can be something extra, you know, and it could be a beautiful surprise, especially if you're a Serbian learner, you know, and you think you got all the cases and all the verbs down, you know, and the perfective forms and the imperfective, I mean, aspects, perfective and imperfective aspects of verbs. So if you think you've got a hold of all of that, then you might then it might be a good idea to learn aorist as well and then use it here and there, like napisah ti poruku, I have written you a message, or I just wrote you a message. That would be cool. So, you know, this is a very different lesson, as you can see, but just for, you know, those people that maybe want to take a look at aorist, I'll just put it here for a second so you could see how we form it. So these are the suffixes. So for example, if you conjugate the verb right, it would be ja napisah, ti napisa, on, ona, ono napisa, mi napisasmo, vi napisaste, and oni napisaše. That's about aorist, and we can move on to one more topic today. Još jedna tema danas. This is about the cases, padeži, and about creating tables. Table, tabela. So these tables that you could usually see on the internet, they're not usually, I mean, they are handy, practical, they're good, but you can never study from the tables. And some of the tables you can find on the internet or in some textbooks are not even clear enough. Like without a proper explanation or additional explanation, you wouldn't even be able to understand. So you couldn't understand, ne biste mogli razumeti, and you couldn't really use it, or some people just use it as a reminder. So they have it on the side and they're like, oh, okay, you know, accusative feminine is u, a to u, you know. What this student of mine pointed out is it would be a very useful, practical idea. Would be a great idea for better retention and actually memorizing and using, learning this, the cases in general, if you make the tables yourself. So maybe today I will give you a table, like an empty table with all the 7 cases, 7 padeža, and I will remind you there's a video called All 7 Cases Explained that I made, so you have all the 7 cases explained. And there you can start from, well, basically nominative, there is nothing to explain there. We just have 3 genders and we have singular and plural. So I mean, nominative is just the default case. So basically you're down to 6, and then vocative is also, you know, not really that big. So I think, you know, technically you need 5, and then dative and locative have the same, even though there are different cases and they should be different cases, they have the same suffixes, you know, which is very important for you as a learner. And then later you could learn or try to differentiate between them, but they have the same suffix. So basically you're down to 4. So you only have 4 cases to study, 3 genders, singular and plural forms. So take a look at the video. For example, genitive, take a look at genitive and just fill in the table yourself. Masculine singular genitive. Park, near the park, blizu parka. So you get suffix a, you write it down yourself. And so on, you know, for genitive feminine singular, you have, I don't know, devojka, near the girl, blizu devojke, and so on. I think there were some other comments that I haven't addressed. Miguel proposed something like Friday evening, cup of coffee, interchangeable questions and answers. Yeah, I think that's a very nice idea for just as a live session that I plan to do eventually, but not yet, you know. And um, so maybe when the channel gets a bit bigger, I could make live videos where, you know, you would ask me questions in real time and I could answer them. And I would also have, you know, maybe like a background lesson that I can always go back to in the meantime or between the questions that I'm answering or something like that. But yeah, that would be later. Yeah, I think that's about it. So don't forget to check in this Saturday, 5:10 p.m. Serbian time. That would be it for this video. Have a great rest of the week and see you on Saturday. Ciao.